Just a reminder, just please speak into the microphone because we get complaints when people can't hear. So if it's red, you have to turn off the red button.
We can watch oh, you took the bar graph off already?
Yeah, just make sure that we're streaming, so
Yeah.
we're good.
Okay. I'd like to call the Harvard Tree Board meeting to order. It is July 2nd, 6:30 p.m. And we have the full complement is here. Janet Hugg, Joel Kriete, Jay Wolf, Shawn and Shannon Kingzette, and myself, Lisa Haderlein. So that takes us to, okay, we don't do item number 3. There's no one to attend electronically. Public comment. I don't see any people I don't know in the audience or even people I know other than staff, so no public comment. Approval of the minutes of May 7th. Did folks have a chance to review those? Mm-hmm. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll submit a motion.
Thank you.
approve.
Motion by Wolf. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you. Second by Kriete. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And I should have asked, were there any questions before I asked for the vote, but I think they seemed pretty straightforward. Item number 6 is discussion action on the McHenry County Citizens Climate Lobby Grant, which the folks we've met with from the Climate Lobby group weren't able to be here tonight. They had family issues come up, but the grant is through Open Lands. I don't remember the exact name of the grant, but it's specifically for communities that are underserved.
Yeah, it was the tree, it was like a tree keepers grant. This is the one I got super close, sorry. This is for the tree keepers grant, and traditionally the tree keepers is a volunteer program that's ran closer to the city. And there's a lot of training requirements. I think there's like 4 hours of training.
For the actual program?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like
It was like, or was
it's a
it 8
multi-week,
weeks? Yeah.
it's a multi-week program, and then at the end, you have a certain number, anyone who goes through the program has to donate a certain number of hours back to the community.
Okay. So it's part of that through the Citizens Climate stuff, and they essentially, because we're so far out, they realized that it would be difficult to get somebody to drive that far out for how many ever weeks, and that a lot of the stipulations that go along with this, because it's supposed to be like a grant that you can plant up to 40 trees, you have to have a volunteer per tree, they have to be within a half mile of each other because it's a planting event, and there's some other stipulations, a little bit of training requirement. But according to Linda and working with Tom Ebling from Open Lands, because we're so far away, it's just kind of like, nah, you don't have to do that. Nah, you don't have to do that. You know, they right now, I think she said the furthest they come out is Arlington Heights. Was that what she said?
That's, where the furthest
Tree keeper
west
course.
tree keeper group is, yeah.
So she said that for Harvard, they're so excited to get out here. They're really, I pitched them the question, Harvard's kind of essentially most of our population is in a 2.5 by 2.5 mile square. And she said that, yeah, that sounds fine. And, it was like, well, we don't have locations because what we'd really like to do is have each resident, like if you want a tree, because there's a 3-year commitment to taking care of the tree, we'd like that to be on the resident because that way they have the hose there, they can watch it, they can do what they need to. And she's like, that sounds great. But we don't have enough time to survey for residents before she wants the submittal, which is mid-July. But they're also throwing that out the window and saying, just apply it, don't fill that stuff out, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we don't have to tell them where exactly the trees are being planted,
Well,
so it gives
it's
us
their
time.
grant, right?
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
can waive the requirements if
Yeah.
they, so this sounds fantastic.
Yeah. And so one of the things that we talked about when we met last week was when you look at the plan, which I'm hoping we'll be able to look at that tonight, to the actual
We-
inventory
Yeah, there can,
for the city,
the tree, okay.
to actually see the data from the tree inventory.
I'll have to bring it up. It's easy. I could probably bring it up on your computer.
Because when you look at it, you see where there aren't parkway trees. And, I drove through some of those neighborhoods, and there are trees, like on people's property, but there are no street trees on certain roads. So I think there's an opportunity to do some canvassing in certain neighborhoods and solicit people to encourage them to volunteer to have a tree planted in their parkway and to take care of it.
Is that how it could be spun? Was it, you said 40 trees?
Mhm.
So throw it out there that 40 volunteers have to attend, I don't know, like a 2 or 3 hour.
No, they don't even have to.
No, I'm saying, but they should.
Like we could do
Like,
it.
we bring them to us.
Oh,
We bring as
Oh.
either the same day of the planting or as a
Okay.
pre-event of the planting. The contingency to get your free tree is you attend the training,
okay.
and we can throw the training. I mean, we
Yeah,
can have
Shawn,
an open land.
I mean, you've done the
I'm a,
training.
yeah, I've done tree keepers training before,
Yeah,
and we can modify
like
it
as a teacher.
as a teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can modify it.
Have enough people to step up. I've got that strip on the Burbank side of my property on Burbank Street. You could use at least one more tree.
Yeah, I mean, do they go past?
What's that?
Well, see, I think the work part actually comes in how to coordinate helping 40 people plant their tree.
Right.
Yes.
Like, you know,
How
Yeah.
big are they?
So she said they were 2-inch diameter, a foot off the ground. So decent sized trees, 6 to 10 feet. And in the bald and burlapped.
two inches okay, but I mean, 40 trees in a day
That's a lot.
would be a
for
lot.
us.
You know, a dozen, a 10.
They're going to have a bunch of people from open lands out there to assist that day. And they're going to be
Citizens Climate Lobby says
Yep.
they'll get people.
Oh,
And
here
they
too.
said they'll have
Yeah.
But recognizing that for us, it's going to be like 40 different locations
Right.
versus a community we're going to do in a park, right?
Well,
So that's,
I'm thinking of just having either the same day or a day before. And again, maybe the contingency of getting the tree is that you
Yeah,
attend a
that's on the
pre-training,
right.
a pre-meeting,
Yeah.
one,
Could
whatever.
host it here easily, right?
Here, whatever
Right.
space will
Yeah.
conveniently hold people. Maybe have one tree, just as a
That
demo.
way they've got some skin in the game.
Right,
They're
exactly.
not just saying,
They-
oh, it'd be nice to have a tree and then not
Right.
do anything,
Yeah.
and then the tree
Yeah.
dies because they didn't fertilize it, they didn't water it, they didn't take care of it.
We can give them the handout, the Morton
Yeah.
Arboretum's handout of,
Yeah,
And I have all of those
okay.
sitting.
Oh, here's the,
This is the inventory. So this is overall tree condition. So you can see how many trees are yellow, which requires some maintenance. So it's a big list. If we look at tree defects, there's a list of all the trees that have defects. Maintenance, what's called out for. The darker, so the reds. Click on one of these. Might be a little closer. So this tree is a blue spruce, an open space. It's dead, and we got to remove it. This is most of the trees that were identified as part of this that
Can you
were
email this link out?
hazardous. So this is a web map right now. I can provide like a view only possibly.
Hold it there though, Rob. I mean, look at this whole area here. There's no street trees.
That area there's like O'Brien and Hayes. There's not sidewalks up there, so the trees are kind of set far back. So there really isn't a technical
there's
street
trees,
tree.
but they're not parkway trees.
Correct.
No, they're they're back, they're closer
They're
to the
residence
house. And so
trees.
you look
Correct.
down the street, like some Harvard streets,
So you can
they're
actually zoom in
have a
on my
canopy.
house.
canopies, they have a
Neat.
canopy.
You can zoom in into my house and see if they
O'Brien.
got my trees listed.
Nothing.
Oh, I'm sure they do. Get my bearings.
So who could put the word out to get the 40?
We could do something on social media. They'd be doing something, they would be planning on either a September or October tree planting. They said the earlier we get it to them, the better chance that we have a spot on like a Saturday. So that was something that they discussed as far as like just getting word out there. And because we don't really need a list yet, we can kind of just throw the net out as big as possible, apply for the grant with 40 trees, and then whatever we come up with, you know, we can always pull it back.
Make a nice JPEG flyer that's easy to share.
We could do something, and then also, because it's just so difficult to collect this data, given some time, probably early next week, I would put together just a Microsoft form where, hey, if you're interested, click this link. Give me your address, what kind of tree you want, are you available this day? Or, you know, can you be available on a Saturday? And just sort of start collecting some of that data.
Well, and
Do you want me to stay up here?
no
Mark?
offense, I know there's, you know, sort of a generational thing here with social media and reliance on it, but I will commit, and I hope maybe somebody, maybe Janet, would help me too,
Voluntold.
is to actually canvass the neighborhoods where there clearly are not street trees and actually knock on doors to get people signed up to do that. Because if we're just doing a completely random, you know, 40 people who just randomly happen to see it on social media, which I'm probably somebody who would not see that because I'm not on it regularly enough.
Got my cherry trees.
But I'd like to see us try to get the trees in areas where we really need some street trees.
I would,
Okay, thank you.
well, I would too.
Yeah. I know Janet's canvassed.
Yeah, for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
A side comment is that the major factor in whether a parkway tree survives is whether there's a homeowner
Yeah.
that's
Engaged
committed,
and that's
engaged to
fair.
it.
Yeah.
So canvassing is going to identify areas where there's not trees, but
She's talking about going to the
Going
door.
to the door.
and saying, hey, would you be interested?
Yeah,
in
exactly.
This is what it
Yeah,
requires.
it's like,
Okay.
You know, this is
they
what we're
still have
looking
to sign
for.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still have to go to the class. And,
yeah.
Yeah,
got
but
it.
it's
Okay.
rather than like waiting for people to like decide, oh, I saw this on Facebook, that sounds cool, and then they didn't act on it right away, and then.
Would we actually
You're
have
actually
the
talking about just
forms for them?
canvassing?
I think we would, yeah.
Can't canvass the neighborhood?
What's that?
Like just go out, you take one side of the street, I take the other, and we walk along and
Yeah, exactly.
Do you need a permit for that?
We're
I
the
bet
tree
we got
board. We can do
someone.
whatever we want.
Above the
There you
law.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're giving
Trying to
stuff.
give something away.
yeah, exactly.
Given, so that's
Yeah.
even better.
Yeah,
Yeah, once Rob does the forms, we can.
yeah, we can just, you have a clipboard and,
Well, I mean, so I would even say that if you have a tablet or a phone, I'll make it so that as you're standing there, you can just submit that information. That way there's no
That'd be great.
handling, because that's what the Microsoft form is. It'll
Yeah.
just be a link
Sure.
like a Survey Monkey.
okay.
And then that way, you know, we don't have to rewrite or re-enter any of that stuff. So just as you're collecting it, we just have to know what fields there are. The only other thing I would say is, according to Linda from the
Oh, Linda from Citizens Climate
Yep.
Lobby.
that day on Saturday is pretty stacked with planting. There's like a short how-to and then a planting and everything, especially if we're trying to get 40 trees in. I would say that maybe do the education aspect at a tree board meeting, like the time, you know, the meeting before, you know, and then that way we can invite the community and say, hey, everybody who's volunteered to get a tree is going to be here. if you're interested as well. And then that way it kind of splits it up, so it's not such a long day.
So you want to just concentrate on that area because it seems to be the most needy compared to the rest of the town? I mean, is that fair to say? If you can get the 40 out of there?
Yeah, I mean, the other areas is, there on Second Street,
Mhm.
where the Methodist church is.
Are there any sidewalk plans for up there?
I think it's just like in this area, you can see there's no trees in between the sidewalk and the street. And then the ones over here by the Methodist church are so far back that they weren't collected as part of that. It's kind of hit and miss here and there. You know, the new subdivisions, you can pretty much see almost, you know, house for house, tree for tree. And it looks very almost grid-like. But then you get into sort of the older growth areas and it's very dotty as, you know, Emerald Ash Borer took trees and things were replanted. That's really, you know, we have some gaps in the tree canopy here and there.
Well, in a lot of those older homes too, I don't believe there was an ordinance requiring
Right.
when you built a house to put a tree in, where now there is, right? So that's why all the subdivisions, you know, they have trees because it's a requirement.
And look at Park
As
Point,
a
you've got a
film.
lot of healthy trees in
Yep.
Park Point.
Park Point looks
There's a
awesome.
lot of, yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
Attentive
that's like the
people there.
one neighborhood where there's a lot of green.
yeah. I do end up getting volunteered for it.
Voluntold.
Voluntold.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
It's easier on everybody.
My cherries are happy this year. I got over 40 pounds of cherries off of 2
I
trees.
saw that, yeah. Awesome.
So are there other areas, and we want to stay in Chemung Township?
So the area, so let me see if I can pull it up. Just a way to get to the map here. So their focus is these areas that are essentially critical areas that need to be reforested and need attention. So in Harvard, it unfortunately splits us off at at Brink Street. So this could only be available to residents north of Brink Street.
But it is most of the community.
And I think, you know, we could capture, you know, if we can certainly focus on those areas that have limited tree cover, but, you know, just cast a wide net and say, hey, if you want a tree and you're willing to commit.
Yeah, and make
First
sure
40,
that they know
yeah.
that they have to live north of Brink Street.
That's
And-
great.
Yeah.
That's very
Yeah. We'll have more time to talk about this later, because this was really just to introduce it, and then they'll be applying, submitting the application to Open Lands by middle of this month, because it's July, isn't it?
Yes.
Are we just sort of assuming, because they've waived all these requirements, that we're going to get this?
Sounds like
Yeah,
it.
it sounds like they have money they'd like to give
Yeah,
money.
they really want to plant trees in Harvard.
So
Yeah.
is Linda's team gonna submit the grant then?
Yeah.
Okay.
And based what I saw on the other map that you showed, like Harvard is the place if you want to get into that green area on the north side of Illinois. So,
Yeah.
and we're out from where they normally go.
Yeah.
Like, I think from their perspective, gosh, if we can work with this community, we should, so.
Yeah.
And we're happy to make it happen, right?
Okay, any questions? Okay, item number 7 is discussion action, ICC tree planting grants through Trees Forever. Rob?
This is the one. So with the tree takedown grant, there was also a grant for replanting. I've made a request of 19 or so trees that be taken down, or I think there's 13 hazard trees that were identified that in-house I'm not comfortable with, and if we can have somebody pay for that and take care of it, we will. I reached out to Power to give me a quote on these. It sounds like, according to Eric Notes at Trees Forever, this is pretty straightforward. I had to provide him some additional pictures of the trees, and that was in review. The sticky part was I just requested a replant for every tree that we had to take down that was a hazard, a critical hazard. And when they started reviewing it, they're like, well, who are your volunteers? I'm like, the tree board. The tree board's volunteering. You know, everybody's getting together to make this happen in the tree selection. And he's like, well, where's your event going to take place? I was like, well, it didn't really sound like that. It sounded like you were kind of doing the replant to go with the trees take down. He's like, well, I need more volunteers. I need to know where they're going. And I said, well, they're going in the locations that I identified. And he's like, well, what kind of trees are you putting in? Well, you're asking me to tell you what kind of trees you're putting in. I don't know what the nursery stock's going to be in February, in the fall. So I just said the most expensive tree, I think it was a ginkgo. And I was like $200 per tree, 19 trees, $3,800, and submit it like that. And he's like, well, this is kind of, it's almost like it's tied more towards like a park or a small community area or a school or municipality, like kind of like our Octobers and things like that. So I don't know if we're going to do good on that one, but
But it's been submitted?
yes,
Okay. And did they give us an idea when?
they
We
were
should
currently
hear.
in review.
Okay.
So
Worst they can say is no.
Right.
I gave him the list, you know, the tree board's put together the accepted species list. Here it is. These are what
Right.
we're going to use. I got quotes from a local nursery that these are the prices for the trees, assuming that we don't know what stock is going to be. We'll assume the most expensive tree to cover it, and try to get as they're definitely not as fun and open as the Citizens Climate Lobby. That's just like, yeah, whatever, we're going to give you money. But he's definitely pulling for us, and especially because we have, 19 trees that we identified that we took down recently from the tree inventory, that this would go hand in hand.
Were those all parkway trees?
Yes. And in addition to that, a little bit of side information, this was, so for the 13 trees to take down, there were some giants, 44-inch DBH, big old cottonwoods, tangled up in wires. When I reached out to Power Tree Service just for the quote, they came back at $24,400. And I said, we won't know until we get the grant back. But I said, I'll have to remove some trees because the grant has a maximum of $20,000. And they came back and said, if you get the grant, we'll gift you the $4,400 and do everything for
Oh,
the
that's
$20,000.
very nice.
So,
And now have we heard on that grant?
not her back.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We moved 5 ourselves and then 13. 6 ourselves and 13 by them.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, item number 8, discussion/action on trees, how-to information from the state. Did you? Do you want to click on that?
It's a live link. I can't even copy it. It's not a live link.
Is that a PDF?
Yeah.
Doesn't have the links activated? Get the links shut off on the,
Not sure where I would go to do that.
you might be able to just highlight it and copy
Yeah, I
it.
can't even do that.
Oh, that PDF's completely locked
Yeah,
down.
it's locked. So
Yeah,
You're the guy in charge, you should have an admin over it.
Download it.
let's do this.
Just
Okay. IDR. 2 trees. It's
All sorts of nice information up there.
Or mulching, I bet you'll say don't do the volcano.
That's right.
I'm slacking on that, but then based on how many cherries my cherry trees have cranked out, I don't think I'm gonna mulch them.
Yeah, no,
Best things you can do for them.
don't be doing the volcano.
Oh,
No.
yeah.
In a couple of weeks, when it's cool enough to run a canner in my kitchen, I'll can up everybody. I'll bring a little jar of cherries for everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, mulch
I can them and I use honey, or cane sugar, but I'll can them kind of like the elderberry syrup.
Like the elderberry syrup.
They're wicked,
Papered
they're
like a
wicked good on
saucer.
ice cream.
Yeah, helps conserve moisture, insulates in the
chemistry.
winter, keeps
Yeah.
mechanical injury away from the trunks. Over time, improves the soil structure.
Keeps critters away from,
Critters meaning lawnmowers and string trimmers usually.
yeah.
So I'm a little unclear, other than, are we gonna try and promote this website? Is that what we're seeking to do?
Well, I think it's a lot of good information that as, what's that? Well, I think it's just good information for us to have available. Yeah, have a link.
Do you have the Arboretums one in your hand?
This is the Spanish language one.
I have,
The English?
I brought a bunch of these
Yes,
for
I
you,
have a
Rob,
stack
and I
of 'em.
forgot.
Oh, I have a whole
I-
box.
I brought a whole bunch of different ones though.
Okay.
Like, I just forgot them at home.
Yeah, it's like this has everything in it versus the, yeah. Yeah, so I think it's just a good comprehensive resource.
Might consider, Rob, under Public Works, of creating a link, like we have one for brush pickup,
Yeah.
but maybe one for proper tree care.
Yeah.
And then provide these kind of links where people can go, and then, we can point them to, Tree City USA. Go, you click on that and it take you
Yeah.
to that list of resources.
Could we put a little blurb in the city newsletter
Certainly could,
coming
sure.
up? Would have that too?
Yeah, I'll get those to you since I forgot them.
It's always my fault.
Yeah, I do have something under new business, but, mayor's report?
Yes, I just want to bring to your guys' attention, we're going to be doing sidewalks on Marengo Road from Air
We're
Street.
Putting them in?
From Air Street to Brink Street.
Oh.
So this is a federal project we've been on for, we're finally in the construction phase. So that's supposed to happen this
Is that what
fall.
all those people were out there like a week ago, or was that the surf internet?
That was surf internet.
Okay, because that was
But in that same area,
crazy.
so that sidewalk is part of trying to put a sidewalk on Pace Route Bus 808, right? So that's, it's our RTA grant, I believe, that we have doing this.
That'd be nice.
Well, there's a problem,
Of course.
Trees.
trees. Marengo Road has a lot, and so all this is gonna go on the east side of Marengo Road, but they have very mature trees that
Help us over
that
there.
need to be taken down. And so I believe that's all part of the grant.
Yes, so one of the things that Gary said was whether or not we take them down or they'll take them down, and there's actually money for them to take them down and replant them. So that was the route that we suggested going, rather than us taking them down ourselves, just because of the staff time and just the cost of having to do that. Construction on this is slated for summer of next year.
Oh, that's been updated, because,
Yeah, they're only on phase 2. They haven't gotten to construction engineering yet.
I'll have to go look at my timeline that Gary gave me because he had construction happening this fall.
They got it kicked out again.
All right. Okay. Yeah, no, I understand. So, but I want to make sure the tree board knew that this was going to happen. And unfortunately, Gary, our engineer, said it's unavoidable. These trees are going to have to come down. So, but there's a plan to.
Will be planted.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when that comes, obviously, we're going to have some upset neighbors because those are very mature trees down that part of Marengo Road. But it is what it is. There's a plan to replant them, when that project is completed. So they will be replanted, but we're going to lose those mature trees.
Is there a way to communicate that with those affected?
Oh, I think we will be definitely letting them know before it happens. But I wanted to make sure the tree board knew what was going on.
Rob, have you glanced at the condition of the trees that'll have to be removed? Most of them are not in good shape, right?
They're not in
big,
great shape,
but, yeah.
and that most of them are maples.
Is there a
So
couple catalpas over
It's
there?
all of
I
these
think
here.
the catalpas are on Ayer Street.
Okay.
So there's a Norway maple, a
Silver
36
maple.
inch. Yeah,
It's those big silver maples there.
Silver maple.
yeah, and
I think almost most of them are silver maple.
a lot of them have dead and dying parts. So, they're kind of aged out, they're in a bad spot, they're heaving the sidewalk. So,
Yeah, the catalpas are.
So that'll go from here to here, and then, unless the schedules change on that, there's eventually it was supposed to be the year after, then go from here to 14. Part of this issue is, because this is still in phase 1, I believe, but part of this issue is IDOT will not allow us to put the pedestrian in the right-of-way over this creek, so we have to build a pedestrian bridge. Which is going to be costly. So, but I wanted to bring that to your attention. So, but the timeline I had wasn't updated. So, to me, it was coming faster than that. So, you guys needed to know. All right,
Yeah,
that's all
thank
I
you.
have.
Thank you. So any new business before my new business?
I don't know if this would be new business. I just wanted to introduce the letter of thank you note that I sent to Laser Graphics. I don't know if that has to go into a record.
Okay.
I just, I talked to the mayor about it. He said I could put his name on it and all the tree board and put it on city, I don't know if you just want to pass it down. Maybe Lisa wants to at least see it.
Okay.
Anybody else can read it too. It's just, thank you.
Thank you. Have the signs gone up?
No, I don't think, they weren't there the other day.
we have, it is in our stack of stuff. Because the signs are just that corrugated board, we're making a treated backer with a couple of 4x4 posts. We're gonna put the two signs together in between some posts. I have locates out, so that's on the list of stuff for next week.
And really, we should also, at least temporarily, create some sort of a ID for the trees themselves, because we've got this, numbered guide to the trees, but none of the trees have numbers on them.
We have this key ID tags. They're little aluminum blanks that
Okay.
we secure with cable locks to all the public works vehicle keys.
Okay,
Because all the trees are numbered on that board, we can just stamp those and either affix them to the tree somewhere or I don't want to cable them, but just
Yeah.
something. So we'll attach them some way.
because I know we talked about maybe doing something through the schools.
Yeah, that's kind of
CAD/CAM
taken a
program.
back seat. I guess other people
But I
found
know
out
that
what,
won't happen until next year.
how much he could do, so the school's all over that program.
Oh,
And then,
so now they're
it's not
into it.
definite, but it sounded most likely they get their stuff first before we can.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not forgotten, but it doesn't look like it's going to move too fast.
Yeah, you were going to give me the name of the guy to contact, because I have that machinery that I could
Yeah,
donate to the school.
I'll give it to you after.
Okay.
I'll touch on new business as well.
Okay,
I did move forward with telling Debi to proceed with the tree management plan now that we have the inventory completed, so they're working on that. We should have the results of that. If anybody wants the links to this stuff, I can provide the links to the GIS. We do have some view-only licenses for that. That should get you into that. A lot of good information there. It's been nice to have, just because when people call and say, my tree needs to come down, I go, no, it's a 36-inch healthy maple, most likely. And, it just needs a trim. Or when we most recently had a tree fall during the storm, and he's like, this thing's been dead for years. And I was like, no, we just looked at it in the spring, and it was in fair condition and just needed to be pruned. This was unexpected. So, quite the tool.
nice. Nice.
How often should we update that?
I would say probably on a 3-year cycle. We're going to be trying to update it as we're doing stuff. Right now, I have a backlog of stuff that has to be entered in, just because right now I'm kind of the pinch point. So Deb just let me know that I've got 2 pieces of technology sitting at City Hall. So we'll be able to start using tablets in the field and updating it as needed. So that'll be a real nice thing to do, to click off and say this one was pruned or this one was taken down, and start reflecting. But similar to like the paver study or the IMS, the pavement management study, a lot of that's subjective, and there might be either residents planting trees on their own or other things that might happen. So I would say maybe on a 5-year cycle, if we can afford something like that.
Let me ask you this, and this is an internal thing, but essentially, what if we split each ward and we do a ward each year?
That would, yeah, because I would maybe on a 4-year cycle for just collecting the data.
Just updating that ward so
Okay.
that each year we have at least one ward that's recently updated.
I think that would be palatable too. I think the tree collection itself, I think we did. I think it was $18,000 for roughly 2,500 trees. So that would be palatable, certainly, split into quarters.
Yeah, something to think about
Yeah.
when it comes to budget.
Deb, and Mike, I seem to recall that there were some years where we had a GIS intern in the summer that was helping us with data entry.
Yeah, we tried that a couple of years, and it did work out. However, the equipment that we were using wasn't exactly accurate.
Oh,
So the data she collected had to be revised.
okay,
And so if you recall, each year we budget to have our engineer help us with the GIS collection.
okay,
So we've been able to get all the past revised and quite a bit more in and operational. So we hope to continue to do that each year, to get everything collected, and then we can just maintain it.
yeah, okay. Because, I was thinking this is great, data that's all in there. And so, it can be, if there's somebody that can just go and say, yeah, that tree's still there, and it's.
That's where I think if we did it on
Yeah.
a ward per ward basis, it breaks it into smaller pieces.
Right.
Then we would probably have a better chance of keeping it maintained.
Right.
And so if you do each one each year, that's a good cycle, and it
Right.
4 years, and you can see in 4 years, did a tree grow? Did it,
Right,
get damaged? Did someone plant a tree that we didn't expect?
Right.
That kind of stuff. So,
yeah, wait a minute, there's a tree here now.
yeah,
Yeah.
wait, this wasn't the tree that was here tonight.
Right. And then when we're planting trees or taking trees down,
Right,
it can be
and I
updated
think
in the
that's
system.
the point of having the iPads, is they do that maintenance, they can
Yeah.
update accordingly.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
budgeted for those 2 iPads for Rob's department this year.
Okay.
And we finally got them in yesterday, so we're just waiting for
IT to get those up and running, which they'll do next week.
Okay,
So then he'll have access, 2 of his people have access to that.
cool. So, yeah, Janet, go
I didn't know
ahead.
if are we done with that, or that
I think so.
discussion?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Before we would adjourn, I just wanted to find out with regard to the trees that we planted in the library area, all of those trees that day. Just what is, going forward, what is the need or expectation as far as maintenance? I've been trying to keep an eye on them and watering. It's a pretty tough job for one person with the hoses and things, but I don't know if we're
Are
at
the
the point
hoses
now
still
where
out
we
there?
can kind of slack off a bit, or do we have to worry about the watering, or?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Thanksgiving.
yeah, until
Yeah.
frozen ground.
Because right now, there's no really good way to get that done.
So we dropped off the hose reel and put.
Oh,
there
you
was
did?
hose- Yeah, there was hose
Okay.
out there, so somebody can do it. Because I was under the impression that somebody from the garden club was.
Well, part of the problem is that we've had trouble getting enough people from Garden Club
Okay.
even to go and do the gardening, the gardens that we have. It's usually just 2 or 3 of us at the railroad or the library or some of these others. So when I've been over there, I've been trying to do it, but that it was before the hose reel. Is there enough hose to get all the way up to the back?
So I can provide additional hose. I bought like 250 feet of hose for this, and then a bunch of hose showed up, so I took that
Yeah,
back
and then
got some hose for Public
Yeah,
Works. But I also have 100 feet. I believe I have 100 feet of soaker hose too, to try to make some of that easy, so you can just lay the soaker hose down. But you'd have to move the soaker hose from tree row to tree row
Yeah.
to cluster. So there's still some significant work to it, but whatever we can help with to assist.
Well, yeah, just that the last time it was, I could get a hose up to the back, but I had to fill buckets and carry
Yeah,
it to all
we
of
can
those
certainly
trees.
we can get additional hoses.
Okay.
Do we have any more soaker hoses? I was wondering, could we just put in some Ys and have hoses lay permanently and you just turn the water on, turn it off?
I think that's what was there originally. Just with this popping up, as directed, I've had a lot of staff. We're trying to get the infrastructure projects done
Sure.
without getting into more stuff.
You supply them, we'll go put them out.
Well, I know you guys are busy. I'm not saying, why
Yeah,
aren't
yeah.
you doing
We
it?
can
It's
do
just,
that.
I want to know.
We can get them.
The best way to go
I can
forward.
pick up a bunch of soaker hose from Ace and just get it so each sort of zone has a soaker hose through the root area or the tree area. And then that way somebody can just hook up the hose, turn it on, go do something else and come back.
Back and move it.
Yeah.
How many hoses do you have and what's the pressure? Can you split it and have 3 or 4 soakers going at the same time?
I think we
It's
have.
just
Well, put
one,
a-
I think
one
we have-
connection.
I think we have adequate hose over there. It would just be mowing and maintenance around all the hoses if they're left out in between zones.
Yeah, I've been trying to
Even if
roll
we
up the
just get 'em
hoses
set
so that,
up
Yeah.
because of
And
that.
then just move the primary hose.
Yeah, no, that's what we can do. I
absolutely,
can-
Yeah.
I will purchase enough soaker hose to just leave there, kind of weave it through the areas.
Yeah, we
I
can
felt
go.
like we've been getting enough heavy rains off and on lately that maybe we were good.
How do the
but
plants look?
I've only noticed that a couple of the elderberries don't seem to be there anymore. And the ones up at the top, I wasn't working in that area, so I wasn't sure how many trees were in a specific spot. It looks like maybe we might be missing 1 or 2, but those ones that are in the cages, the chicken wire cages, those are just going like
Okay.
I can
gangbusters.
donate some
Hazelnuts.
elderberry bushes, because my elderberry bushes right now, I've got about 60 to 80 of them, and they're at least 5 feet tall.
That's bigger than the ones that are in there.
So how often, or how much daily do those, how long would these hoses need?
It wouldn't be daily. You would want to go like on a 3 to 4 day interval.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
If they're laid correctly and we can get a whole, like the circumference of the roots, probably like 25 minutes.
That's it?
Yeah.
3 to 4 times a week?
No,
More like
every
twice a
3 to
week.
4 days.
Twice a week,
That's what I've been
That's if it doesn't
trying to
rain.
do.
Correct.
depending on conditions and
Yeah.
stuff.
And we gotta be careful of the hard downpours because of our soil structure that often just runs off. So we can't just assume
Sure.
that that's working.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be over at the library garden tomorrow, whoever shows up and so I'll.
What time?
We usually get together around 8:30, somewhere between 8:30 and 9, and work on the weeding and stuff. Right now, the gardens are in pretty good shape, and there's not a lot of cleanup, or there's just mostly some weeding. But when I'm over there on the Thursdays, I always try to tend to the trees, too.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for
But-
doing that. And
Yeah.
the letter was nice too.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Would sprinklers help there too, or no?
I think when we're
I
real
think more
hot and dry, you
concentrated
get too
in-
much
Oh,
evaporation.
I've got access to
you
those like
waste a
golf
lot.
course sprinklers, so they're no use to me.
I like the
I
idea of
tried them and
soaker.
all it does is get like 2 houses down. It just shoots. So if
Gotta be
that would help with
careful.
less stuff, yeah.
You don't want to beat the trees up.
Yeah,
Well, there's settings for that, but yeah. I was all excited and went, well, this does me no good.
Could keep the kids off the grass then, though,
Right, right. Keeps the speeders, keeps down the speeders.
And then there's assault charges.
But yeah, I mean, if something like that would work and you don't have to drag that stuff all over, you guys are welcome to it.
It sounds
But I don't
like
know if the
we can get
sprinklers are,
The soaker
right-
hoses in place.
right, if those are better, then,
Very efficient for that kind of.
Yeah. And for the size of the plants.
yeah.
Yeah, the soakers are
All
good.
right. Yeah, but if it comes up for something else, let me know.
Yeah.
Little update then with Mary's Park. So the final death toll is bald cypress, 3 arborvitaes, and a concolor fir. Since we're in the middle of
All of the-
summer,
All of the evergreens.
all the evergreens. And talking to nursery people, that's common this year. The drought that we had, the weather conditions we've had,
Because then we had a no snow cover.
yeah, the no snow cover, the light snow in the winter, the lack of rain in the fall, just the total combination of weather events, evergreens struggled just in our whole region, not just at our planting, so. But the question is, you know, I guess there's a little bit of money left over from that project, right? Just sort of make an arrangement with Gertis or something, and then, you know, we don't want to plant these in the middle of summer, but.
Right,
but
right, but in the fall.
maybe in a month or two, or
Yeah.
who's going to do that and when, and
Sounds like a opportunity for a tree planting event.
we can do it that way, or we can just get it done. It doesn't.
Well, you're talking at Mariere Park, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which we already had the event there, now we're just
But now,
replacing.
would Gertis plant them?
No, but
No.
actually,
Oh,
I would
okay.
plant them.
Oh,
Actually, if
okay.
if Rob had them delivered there, I would go over and plant them. I just
Okay.
don't think we should do it in the middle of summer,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but.
And you always give us a holler, we'll come over and help too.
Sure. Yeah. It's-
Well, was
it's
the
not-
October planting also part of the problem, or did they not get a chance to get
it's
established
just,
well enough, or?
Just
The
bad luck.
conditions.
Just bad luck. It wasn't.
Last year and this year have been hard to get new trees established.
I've been wanting to plant some arborvitaes, so you know, I'm like concerned now if I spend this money on arborvitaes in there and I can survive.
Good you didn't do it last year.
Yeah,
But
apparently.
if we have the same conditions this year,
Yeah.
I'm getting lots and lots of calls to look at arborvitaes that have been planted either last year or and
Early
they
this year.
Just,
They
they
look
just didn't
terrible.
take, huh?
They just didn't take. So it's, yeah. So yeah, I'll work with Robin.
Do you think, when there's no snow cover, that, the colder temperature or zone 5 could affected the roots,
Yeah.
the root system?
That's why mulching's important.
Yeah.
Helps dense light.
And the drought just made that.
Yeah,
I
it
think
exasperated
too,
it, right?
Maybe doing an anti-desiccant on them to help with water loss over the winter. Like a wilt proof, especially on the fir and the arborvitaes. The cypress wouldn't need that, obviously. But that will help retain any moisture that they've collected. That's what we're trying to do.
Would we be willing to,
We could help.
we might donate that.
We could donate that.
We'll just, in November, we'll just go spray some
Spray.
chapstick.
It is, it's a
Some
it's
tree
a paraffin.
chapstick?
It's
It
a
is treat
paraffin.
chapstick, it's paraffin oil.
Paraffin oil,
That's what
so.
it is.
So it just naturally wears away over time?
Yeah, you, depending on conditions, you reapply throughout the winter.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Things you learn in the sport.
But it helps. So if you did plant your arborvitaes,
You would probably want to
if you
hire
did that, it
somebody
would
to
help
do that.
reduce the risk that they did burn.
They desiccate,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
And the garden club did go over and we planted flowers around both of the signs at Mary Air Park.
Oh, nice.
They have flower beds around them now
Awesome.
that we will continue to
Nice.
maintain
I think
too.
on the whole, that planting looks great. Like, I'm actually kind of pleased that
Yeah.
most things look all right.
Probably should.
A couple needs some pruning. And then another little side point, and maybe this is on the side.
The foster children.
The
are
foster
doing
children
well.
are fine. I have some 5-gallon pots. Did you say something about soil? Okay. I think a potting soil, a non-heavy soil would be best. Because then, what I was thinking, I have a bunch of, do you have any 5-gallon pots by chance? Okay, I have some 5-gallon pots. I'll drill holes in those. So then I'll transfer, because there's 2 different sizes, I'll transfer the bigger ones to the 5 gallons and the smaller ones to the 2 gallons or whatever they are.
Fostering the trees
Yeah.
for the fall planting at our house, so
And they're growing well, but I think
Yeah.
they need to get into
something
bigger
bigger.
size containers.
Let me know how much dirt.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. So I had one, item of new business. This came as a total surprise. The other day I received an email from, the guy we work with at the Morton Arboretum about landscape scale restoration grant that I think I'd mentioned to this group that I was sure was never going to happen because the whole program was to do outreach and plant trees and do tree education in underserved communities that had non-white residents. And they didn't sign the contract last year before the turnover in the administration. And so when I had talked with him in January, he's like, yeah, I don't think this is going to happen. Well, it's going to happen. The Forest Service, it's through the Forest Service, and they went and they just edited the proposal, took out every reference to any of the, prohibited words, and it's now going to be funded for 3 years, and so it's still going to be doing all of the stuff that's now been deleted from the application because it's still going to be. So we're going to have, I think, over 3 years, the Land Conservancy is going to have it's about $85,000 to do outreach and tree planting in Harvard. Yeah. So we're going to be looking for somebody part-time to actually be going door to door and talking with folks, in particular the Hispanic community, and doing outreach to the landscapers in town to increase the knowledge and skills when it comes to trees, and to get more native trees planted in people's yards. And these don't have to be planted in public areas. They can be planted in yards. So we have to figure out the parameters for this, because I had just crossed it off. I mean, deleted it from our budget, just delete it from my mind, but anyway, this is going to be